Hi, Vinny Ebenau here at the Civility in America Lecture Series in Stamford, Connecticut with the General Manager of the New York Yankees, Brian Cashman. And Brian, you talked a lot about civility, and humility, I guess, ties in tonight. Where do you see those kind of things in your day-to-day operations?
Well, sometimes, it's hard to see, because we're in such a competitive world, and it's winner take all and loser go home, and then the winners get celebrated and the losers obviously, get destroyed typically in the papers. So, but listen, I get a chance to witness. There's a right way to win. There's a wrong way to go about winning. There's a right way to handle losing, and that's usually with humility and respect and dignity for the opponent and for everybody involved, the opposing team's fans. And so you get a chance to see how that play out on a daily basis. And but a lot of that doesn't come with anything but experience. And you got to just put the team first and try to avoid that individualism that seems to be creeping into our society at all times.
Right, and you mentioned guys like Jeter, O'Neill, Rivera, guys who've been humble and have that practice of humility on the field where the nice things sort of go unnoticed, but those are the guys that people make their heroes. Do you feel that the Yankees are branding more of that kind of talent?
Well, we certainly try to. I think every team in every sport tries to produce, tremendous players, people that can perform on the field and that, project an image of team and of selflessness and, and all in for everybody but themselves. But unfortunately, society's, encourages the individual brand building and controversy sells, and, somebody's Q rating going off the chart or website hits because of, a negative story or action, creates a great deal, of attention. And, some people have the belief that there's no such thing as bad news or a bad story. And that has shown it does sell too. So here's a fight between good, positive and evil going on at all times, between good and bad, and that fight will always continue.
Now, you mentioned that kind of social media, that media outlet where stories leak, and I guess people try to play general manager for you. But what is that kind of like day to day, where people are always second guessing you? And
it's tough. You got to have a thick skin. I've had that bus backed over me quite a few times, and I'm now chiseled, so there's no doubt about that. So I'm rock hard, and I've been thrown to the wolves, eaten up and spit out, and so now it's something I'm accustomed to, but it's hard to kind of speak to or explain unless you've been there and done that. So there's a lot of critics. I've had a lot of success, but I've had a lot of failure, and I'm wired to remember more of my failures and dwell on my successes. I think it's probably a healthy thing, but how do you handle it? You have no choice but to move forward and push on. If you have passion and belief in what you're doing and the direction you're heading, you got to push through it and deal with the criticisms and fight it off and keep your eye on the prize. And if you believe that what you're doing is correct, then battle on.
And you've had a lot of successful years in your position as Yankee general manager and going back in this historical franchise. And the winter meeting's coming up, and you've had a big signing already. Is this a Yankees team that you feel could be really successful next October?
Not yet. I got a lot more work to do. I got some holes to fill, and that's what we're working on. We got Brian McCann, the catcher, signed, and I got a number of other areas I need to fill. And right now, I'd say we're on the outside looking in, but I got a lot of time between now and opening day, first pitch in April. So.
What about guys like Carlos Beltran and Tanaka, I guess, once he gets posted, and then the at least publicly, rugged battle with Robinson Cano over his contract? Do you feel like those things could work in your favor?
If I had all those guys, it would help. There's no doubt about it. So, listen, we're on every high-end player for the most part, as well as, the mid-tier guys and then the low-tier guys. I mean, again, we have a lot of holes that we need to fill, and so we have our preferences, but sometimes, they don't work out, so you have to have the backup plans ready to go, too.
Is David Robertson a for-sure closer, or are you kind of exploring other options?
No, he's not a for-sure closer. Robertson is a guy that we're going to he's going to have a chance to compete, basically, but we're not going to anoint him closer. He's going to have to earn it in spring training.
Brian, thank you so much for your time, and good luck this season. That's Brian Cashman, General Manager of the New York Yankees. I'm Vinny Ebenau.